6 in the morning. Inside your liver. The glycogen warehouse sits at 40% capacity, the storage manager. A cluster of hepatocytes. Sends out a quiet alert. Your muscle cells. Those patient workers who've been waiting for their usual glucose delivery. Notice something different today. Insulin, the gatekeeper that usually patrols every corner, has clocked out. Its levels have dropped below 5 microunits per milliliter. Without this guard on duty, your fat cells begin unlocking their doors. Molecules of stored triglycerides start preparing for departure. Meanwhile, up in your brain, the hypothalamus releases a whisper of norepinephrine. You feel it as an unexpected clarity, a strange alertness you didn't ask for. This isn't energy depletion, this is transition. Your body is switching channels. Preparing to broadcast from a frequency it hasn't used since yesterday. Think of your body as a bank with 2 vaults. The first vault, glycogen, is small but accessible. It's located in your liver and muscles, storing about 400 to 500 grams of glucose that's been carefully packaged for quick withdrawal. This vault holds roughly 1,600 to 2,000 calories, enough to power you through 12 to 24 hours depending on how much you move. It's like the cash in your wallet, convenient but limited. The second vault is enormous. Even someone lean carries tens of thousands of calories stored as fat, enough energy to survive for weeks. But this vault requires a special key called lipase. This enzyme only works efficiently when insulin levels drop low. When you eat throughout the day, insulin rises repeatedly, and each spike locks the fat vault shut. Your body defaults to burning glycogen because it's easier, not because fat isn't available. Here's something surprising. That meal you ate before your workout, it's not fueling this session when you swallow food. It sits in your stomach for 2 to 5 hours while acid breaks it down, then moves to your small intestine where nutrients absorb over the next 4 to 12 hours. The energy powering your morning workout comes from yesterday's meals, from stored glycogen already in your bloodstream, the boost you feel after eating before exercise. That's hormonal anticipation. Ghrelin drops, dopamine rises, and your brain interprets incoming food as permission to perform. But the actual energy, it's been there all along. When you fast for 12 to 16 hours, your body runs low on vault number 1. The glycogen manager reports diminishing inventory. And with insulin absent, the fat vault swings open. This isn't weakness. This is your body demonstrating a skill it's always possessed. Let's watch what happens at the molecular level when fasting meets exercise. 4 distinct characters emerge, each triggering a cascade of changes. First, fat burning increases by 20 to 30%. Think of insulin as a traffic cop stationed at every fat cell exit. When insulin is high, it physically blocks triglycerides from leaving. The enzyme hormone-sensitive lipase, which breaks down stored fat, remains deactivated in insulin's presence. But when you fast, insulin drops below that critical 5 microunit threshold, and the cop leaves the intersection. Lipase activates, triglycerides split into free fatty acids, and these molecules enter your bloodstream headed for your muscles. A comprehensive analysis published in the British Journal of Nutrition reviewed 27 studies involving 273 participants and found that aerobic exercise performed fasted consistently produced higher fat oxidation than exercise performed fed. Remove the lock and the door opens. Your mitochondria, those tiny energy factories inside each cell, begin preferentially burning fat because glucose supply has dwindled. After 12 to 16 hours, your liver also begins producing ketones from this fat breakdown. These small molecules represent a cleaner fuel source. Your brain particularly appreciates ketones. They cross the blood-brain barrier easily and provide steady energy without the peaks and crashes of glucose. Second, growth hormone multiplies 3 to 14-fold. This hormone, secreted by your pituitary gland, serves 2 critical functions. It protects your muscle tissue from breakdown, and it signals fat cells to release their contents. Fasting alone raises growth hormone levels approximately 3 times above baseline. Exercise alone spikes growth hormone above 10 nanograms per milliliter during activity. When you combine fasting with exercise, you're activating 2 separate pathways simultaneously. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism documented growth hormone increases ranging from 5 to 14 times normal levels in both men and women. From an evolutionary perspective, your body cannot afford to cannibalize muscle tissue during food scarcity. Muscle is survival equipment. It helps you hunt, gather, escape danger, and find food. Growth hormone acts as muscle's bodyguard, telling your system burn the fat reserves. Preserve the machinery. Third, insulin sensitivity improves significantly when your muscles contract during exercise. They open up glucose channels called GLUT4 transporters. These channels allow glucose to enter muscle cells without requiring insulin's assistance. When you fast, insulin is already low because there's no incoming food to process. Combine these 2 states and your body learns to manage glucose with minimal insulin involvement. Studies show this improvement persists for 24 to 48 hours after your workout ends. Better insulin sensitivity means lower risk of insulin resistance, reduced inflammation, and decreased likelihood of developing type 2 diabetes. Your cells become more responsive, requiring less hormonal signaling to accomplish the same metabolic tasks. Fourth, your brain sharpens noticeably. This isn't imagination. Multiple mechanisms converge to enhance cognitive function. Your body increases production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that acts like fertilizer for your neurons. BDNF strengthens connections between brain cells and improves memory formation. Both fasting and exercise independently boost BDNF, and combining them amplifies the effect. Those ketones your liver produces provide your brain with an alternative fuel source. Neurons can run on ketones efficiently, perhaps even more efficiently than glucose under certain conditions. Additionally, norepinephrine levels rise during fasting. This neurotransmitter heightens alertness and sharpens focus. Consider this from an evolutionary lens. Your ancestors 10,000 years ago woke up hungry most mornings. If their bodies became weak and their minds foggy when hungry, they couldn't hunt successfully, they would starve. The humans who survived were those whose bodies performed well during food scarcity. Natural selection favored metabolic flexibility over thousands of generations. You carry this ancient programming. Your body knows how to function without constant food input. This isn't a design flaw, it's a survival feature. Not all exercise creates equal demand on your energy systems. Let's examine this through the lens of glycogen dependence. Low to moderate intensity aerobic exercise represents the safest entry point. Walking, light jogging, easy cycling, gentle swimming. Any activity where you can maintain a conversation without gasping. These exercises primarily burn fat for fuel, at lower intensities. Your muscles prefer fatty acids because the energy demand is modest, and fat provides sustained power. Your limited glycogen reserves remain largely intact. You can sustain this movement for extended periods, even after 16 hours without food. If you're new to fasted training, start here. Take a morning walk before breakfast. Notice how your body responds. Don't rush progression. High-intensity interval training and anaerobic exercise demand glycogen, sprinting, jump rope at maximum effort, burpees. Any exercise that leaves you breathless requires rapid ATP production, and glycogen provides that quick energy. After 12 to 16 hours of fasting, your glycogen stores sit at 50 to 60% capacity. You might feel unable to access your usual explosive power. However, research offers encouraging news. Studies on individuals following very low carbohydrate diets for 4 weeks showed that after an adaptation period, high-intensity performance returned to baseline levels. Their bodies learned to generate quick energy using alternative pathways. The key word is adaptation. Don't attempt intense interval training on your first fasted workout. build up gradually over several weeks. Resistance training and weightlifting are compatible with fasted exercise, but require post-workout attention. You can lift weights on an empty stomach. Many athletes do this successfully. Each heavy set consumes some glycogen, but elevated growth hormone helps protect your muscle tissue during the session. The critical consideration is recovery. Weight training creates microscopic tears in muscle fibers. Your body then repairs these tears, making the muscle stronger, but this repair process requires protein as raw building material. Your body needs amino acids to activate the mTOR pathway, the molecular machinery responsible for muscle protein synthesis. If you lift weights and then continue fasting for many more hours, your body lacks the necessary building blocks. The recommendation is clear: consume a protein-rich meal within 2 to 4 hours after resistance training, even if you trained fasted. Now, let's address who should not experiment with fasted exercise. If you're pregnant or breastfeeding, your nutritional demands are elevated. If you have a history of eating disorders, fasted training could trigger unhealthy patterns. If you have type 1 diabetes or use insulin, fasted exercise creates dangerous blood sugar complications without medical supervision. If you have chronic kidney disease, fasting compounds metabolic stress. If you're significantly underweight, you don't have adequate energy reserves. If you take medications that must be consumed with food, you'll need to eat regardless. And if you're completely new to both fasting and exercise, don't start both simultaneously. Certain warning signs demand immediate cessation: severe dizziness that doesn't improve after resting, heart palpitations that continue after you've stopped exercising, confusion or difficulty thinking clearly, extreme weakness, nausea or vomiting. If any symptom doesn't improve within 10 to 15 minutes of resting and drinking water, end your workout, eat something light, and consult a doctor if needed. One crucial point about hydration: when you fast, your body loses water and minerals faster than usual. Low insulin signals your kidneys to excrete more sodium and water. Symptoms of electrolyte imbalance include fatigue, muscle cramps, headaches, and dizziness. Drink plenty of water before, during, and after your workout. You can add a small pinch of salt to your water or use an electrolyte supplement. Listen to your body. It will tell you what it needs if you pay attention. Your body doesn't flip a switch from fasting mode to feeding mode instantly. Think of it like shifting gears in a manual transmission. You need to ease through the transition during the first 24 to 48 hours after you start eating again. Your digestive system is restarting. Insulin begins rising with your first meal as your body shifts from breakdown mode to storage and repair mode. A significant portion of your energy redirects toward digestion and processing incoming nutrients. Your stomach activates acid production, peristalsis, and enzyme secretion. This internal work requires resources for exercise during this phase. Keep intensity light: walking, gentle yoga, stretching, mobility work. This is not the time to chase personal records. Give your system time to make the metabolic transition smoothly. Your body is recalibrating hormone levels, reactivating digestive enzymes, and redistributing blood flow. Respect this process between 48 and 72 hours after breaking your fast. Glycogen replenishment is actively underway. Your liver and muscles are steadily refilling their glucose stores. This process typically requires 24 to 48 hours to complete. Depending on carbohydrate intake, here's something beneficial to understand. After fasting, your insulin sensitivity remains elevated above normal levels. This means your body processes carbohydrates more efficiently during this window. Your cells are hungry for glucose and readily absorb it. If you want to refuel with carbohydrates, this is actually an ideal time because your body handles them particularly well for exercise during this phase. You can start increasing intensity gradually. Light to moderate resistance training becomes appropriate, but continue listening to your body's signals. If you don't feel ready for more intensity, wait longer, around 72 hours after breaking your fast. Your systems have largely normalized. Glycogen stores are mostly or fully restored. Your digestive system is working smoothly. Hormones have stabilized. You can return to your regular training intensity. However, don't try to compensate for any missed training by working out extra hard. Ease back in over your first 1 or 2 sessions. Regarding protein timing after a fast, your body is in an optimal state for building and repair. Insulin sensitivity is elevated, so protein is absorbed more efficiently. Growth hormone remains elevated for 24 to 48 hours. This creates an ideal environment for muscle protein synthesis. Prioritize high-quality protein in your first meals. Eggs, fish, meat, legumes, or yogurt all work well. Spread your protein intake throughout the day rather than loading it all into one meal. Your body can only process approximately 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal effectively, so distributing it evenly gives you better results. Exercising while fasting isn't reckless. It's accessing a backup energy system your body was designed to use. When done correctly, fasted exercise increases fat burning, boosts growth hormone, improves insulin sensitivity, and enhances mental clarity. The meal you eat before working out isn't fueling that workout. The energy comes from yesterday's food, from stored glycogen, from your fat reserves. When you exercise while fasting, you're teaching your metabolism to be flexible. Your ancestors survived for millennia using this exact system. Have you ever tried training fasted? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this with someone curious about fasting and exercise. Subscribe for our next video exploring the first 24 hours of fasting, hour by hour. Until then, take care.